Well, hello once again, everybody. Robin Sacks and Lindsey House, and we are two coaches on a mission, is what it seems to be like. So join us again this week for some free coaching from some awesome coaches. I'm a little
I know.
biased.
Can we keep? Yeah, we're biased, but can we keep just saying that? Keep showing up. You have two coaches talking to you at least every other week or so. Man, could we make some progress in 2022 if we just kept going with these talks? We're going to keep giving you homework. We're going to keep giving you things to think on, to implement. So welcome.
Nice. And again, our theme we sort of fell into just in doing a couple of LinkedIn Lives is the ABCs of your 2022 success. And we have been walking through the alphabet to help you spell out your success in 2022. And today we are on the letter F. We're heading into F already. So, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat this morning. My goodness. So let's jump in. Lindsey, I'm going to throw the ball into your court today. Let's start it off. What when we say F word for success?
Oh man. And you and I, once we start going on these, we're like, how do we keep it short enough? We're trying to aim for this 25 minutes. So I'll try to be brief. But the first thing that popped into my head was fruits of our labor. And one of the topics, and I'm sure everybody's heard this before, but I'm going to say it again because I think things hit us at different times and when we really need to hear them. But when I think of fruits of our labor, I think of reaping what we sow. And really giving that visual, again, both Robin and I talk on little by little, a little becomes a lot, like really understanding that slow and steady progress really is that what becomes lifelong attainable. And so when we think about reaping what we sow and getting to those fruits of our labor, it's slow. And I'm going to give you that farmer like type thinking, or if you like to go dink around in your garden and maybe that's a little more relatable, that you're going to plant that seed. And once you plant a seed, you're going to water it and you're going to maybe put plant food on it. And you're going to keep coming back to it and paying attention to it with no expectation of your plant popping up tomorrow, right? Like all of us go in full with those expectations. A farmer plants his crops, man, spends so much time, attention on them, and is absolutely fine knowing that it's 3 to 6 months until they're going to see anything pop up out of the ground. And again, same thing in a garden situation. And I feel like, how can we get ourselves in that same mind frame that we can go, okay, in the health and fitness arena, I'm going to move. I'm going to go to bed on time. I am going to choose some fruits and vegetables in my day. I'm going to choose to stretch. Like we've planted. This is us watering. This is us paying attention to. We are sowing in efforts and sowing in labor so that guess what? We get to reap benefit, but it's not tomorrow. Sometimes it's not next week. Sometimes it's not even 3 months from now. Sometimes it's that 6 months to even a year. But my promise to you is that you will get to reap what you have sown. You will get to see those fruits of your labor. It's just not going to be on your time frame. And so I think that we just all need to settle in a little bit. What do you think, Robin? Where's your head go?
I love it. And the analogy is perfect because nobody would say that you're going to reap you're not going to get the fruit the day you plant the seed. That would be ridiculous. And we all know that. But when it comes to our personal development, we want it now. And we don't, but the analogy is perfect for that very reason, that just throw expectations away. And the one thing that I'll maybe add to that is that idea of it could be next week, next month, next year. There's so much talk about, and this is a whole different discussion for a whole different day, 28 days to make a habit, 30 days, Throw all that stuff out. If you actually research that, I'm not going to go into it now. It's complete bunk. Here's the thing you need to know. The only way to get anything you want is to simply keep doing the things that get you there. That's it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And the thing to keep in mind is the time's going to pass anyway. And so who cares if it takes you a year? A year from now, wouldn't you love to be for the rest of your life exactly where you've always wanted to be?
Yeah.
The time's going to pass anyway. Just start and don't stop, and you'll get everything you want.
100% agree. Yes. All right. What F is burning in your brain right now?
All right. So one that is near and dear to my heart is something that I call flip the switch. And
Mm,
flip the switch is, as a confidence coach and someone who works with helping people feel more confident and less stressed in all of their endeavors, flipping the switch is probably the absolute key. If you master flipping the switch, you master confidence and you master stress management in a nutshell. And so flipping the switch has to do with the conversation in your own head. And we do this because this is about self-talk. This is also about perspective. And
mhm.
what flipping the switch is, it refers to the default or the autopilot that we typically go to as human beings. And if you notice, for example, with your self-talk, your default or your autopilot is probably to all of the things that are going wrong, or all the things that could go wrong, or all of the negative things. We've got this little critical person in our head who's constantly poking the bear, so to speak. And sometimes that voice can be, it can become a bully. The inner bully can take over and really paralyze things, which goes back to, Lindsay, what you were talking about. It can stop us from simply continuing, or
Yeah.
it can make the expectations seem so overwhelming that we'll never get there and we stop. And so that's often that little critical bully up there. So when I talk about flipping the switch, what I invite people and highly encourage them to do is allow whatever thought comes into your head to come into your head. There's nothing wrong with that. That is just what's going to happen. So don't worry too much about that. However, anytime you have a thought, immediately get in the habit of flipping it to the other side. So for example, we often say things like, well, what if? What if is a question that comes up constantly, right? And it's never followed by anything good. It's always all of the potential problems. We'll make up problems. What if it doesn't work? What if I don't get the job? What if I don't get the client? What if they don't like me? What if, what if, what if? And it's always
Yeah.
something bad.
Yeah.
It's a great example of flipping the switch. What if it doesn't work? Okay, what if it does? Why don't we explore that too? What would that look like? What if I don't get the job? Well, I can go get the other one, right? What if they don't like me? Then it's probably not a group I want to be part of anyway. Let me go find my tribe, right?
Right.
What if is one of those things that we ask but we don't answer.
Mhm.
And if you implement with things like that, flipping the switch and always seeing the other side, and examples that I often use are we're surrounded by this negativity and we don't even realize it. The weather forecaster will always tell you it's partly cloudy. What he is also saying is it's partly sunny, but he'll never use the words partly sunny. He'll always say partly cloudy because the negative bent psychologically draws us in. That's why they also say there's a 20% chance of rain, right?
Yeah.
They'll never say, by the way, today we have an 80% chance of sun, right? If
Yeah.
that's how we said it, you would never go, oh, but that means there's a 20% chance it might rain. But the moment somebody says 20% chance of rain, we don't think 80% chance of sun. We think, oh, it's probably going to rain.
Yeah.
So we get stuck in this side of things. And so when you learn to flip the switch and just make it a habit, anytime you think something, anytime you perceive something, get in the habit of stopping for a moment and seeing the other side. What does that also mean if you flip it? And what that does is that will start to get you in a place where, one, you are less negative. You are less critical of yourself, of other people, of situations, because you're not just going in with one side of the story. And if you only have one side of the story, guess what? You don't have the story. So anything you're going to say about it or contribute to it is probably wrong, or at the very least, not correct completely. So flipping the switch also from a feeling standpoint, when we talk about confidence, when we talk about stress management and those types of things, when you begin to flip the switch, knowing you always go to the negative, it just is what it is, no judgment, just awareness. You bring more of the positive into your life. You bring more of the what if it works into your life, and you
Mhm.
start to see possibilities. You start to feel possibilities. You're not always just looking at what might get in the way or what the roadblocks might be. The roadblocks look so much smaller when you also see the possibilities. So it's not about saying, I don't see the negative or the roadblocks. That's important to see. But if that's all you see, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to accomplish anything. And you're always going to feel like everything is overwhelming and anxiety inducing. However, if you see the roadblocks and go, yes, those are there. However, here are the possibilities too. Here's a way I can get around the roadblock. Here's a different route I can take. Or let me just keep going. And when I get to a roadblock, I'll step over it and I'll keep going. It allows you to realize I can do this regardless of what life throws at me. And it's not often as big a deal as we're making it. So flip the switch, get in the habit of looking at things the way you look at them. That's okay. No judgment, just awareness, but giving yourself the other side, and you will be amazed at literally the world that opens up to you of possibilities and better feelings, more confidence, less stress.
This is such a good visual for our listeners today, because I think a lot of individuals feel like a motivational speaker and they hear this stuff. It's all about the positive and it's all about not feeling the negative. And that is not what you're saying. There is this side of the switch that we feel the negative. You see it. We're just not sitting. We're not choosing to sit in it. So we're flipping it and looking at the other side to just see what that could look like. So that was so good. My brain went to, I think this needs to be our homework today, Robin, not that we're closing out, but I was thinking maybe,
Yes, do tell.
The homework could be for self or for like our kids that take a moment, take multiple moments within a day where you can see that moment to ask the question. So I was thinking, like, I have a daughter trying out for a basketball team right now, and it is really easy to go down that path of what if I don't make it? What if, my friends do? What if, and it does, it all goes negative. And having the conversation with her that what if you do make it, and what's that season going to look like, and choosing to see that other side. So just take those small moments in the day and go, where can I flip the switch? And then I was thinking about that from like an empathy standpoint too. Maybe you're somebody who you feel like you're really butting heads, like politically or religiously, wherever that is for you, to flip the switch into walking in somebody else's shoes and going, how are they feeling about it? And can I maybe find a middle ground with them to find a little more, we talked about empathy last week, to find a little more understanding. So the homework is to find your moment, whether that's with self or with somebody else in your family, to help take a moment to flip a switch. Do you have anything to add to that?
I love that. Totally on board with that. Fantastic. And Lindsey, there's something you said based off of something I said. I'm going to go off of what you said because it so bears repeating. I think if there is nothing else you take from any of these, this might be the pivotal thing to take. Whether you are told to be always positive and happy, or you only are negative and always looking for the problems, those are both extremes, and neither of those are good places to be. They will never help you. They will never serve you. They will never get you anywhere you want to go. So please don't ever listen to anybody who says, just be more positive, or no, you got to question everything because people are always out to get you. All of those people, keep them at the extremes. And what you need to do is come into the middle ground. And you must acknowledge reality is really what we're talking about. And sometimes reality looks not real good. And sometimes reality looks like it's full of possibilities. Give yourself permission to see reality. Yes, the bumps are there, but yes, I can get over the bumps. What do I need to do? So don't push one or other to the side. Get in that middle ground, see the entire picture, because when you have all the little puzzle pieces, if you're only looking at these puzzles, or if you're only you're only looking at these pieces, you'll never see the whole story. You'll never have the truth, the reality, the answer to the question you have. When you get the pieces all together and put them together, you got this perfect picture that you can look at and go, oh, that's what I need to do next. It's pretty clear.
Yeah. And I'm going to take that word truth and pull it out that you just said. We're speaking truth over you today. And part of this truth is that some individuals use this as an excuse or a barrier of, like that positivity stuff is for quit thinking that way. That's again, that's an extreme. When you see somebody who's too positive, too rah or whatever, and it really rubs you the wrong way, that is 10% over here. So come back to the middle ground that Robin just said. Okay. And we can move on, but I love that. And yes, truth is a big deal, because I think, okay, we can move on. My next word is,
I can't wait to get till T now. I think we found a T word we need to discuss, but that's down the line.
Oh, truth. Yeah. What month will that be in?
That's right. We have a little ways to think more on that.
Next
But
Christmas. I
all right.
know.
So what's another
Okay.
extra
I
success
was
for you?
thinking foundation might be really important to talk about
Ooh.
today. I'm a dietitian, I'm a personal trainer, and I call myself an accountability coach because I truly believe that accountability is the underpinning of everything that we do. And if you look up the definition of underpinning, it is a solid foundation laid below ground level to support or strengthen a building. And what
Mm.
I want our listeners to do today is picture yourself as the building. Okay, when you picture foundation and everything that's laid down, and for a building, let's go back to that for a moment. Thank goodness for foundation, right? It's the thing that makes your building not sway. It's the thing that gives you comfort that your roof's not going to fall in on your head. Like we, though, as people, need foundation too. And some of us have been really lucky, and that foundation's been just built in since the day you were born. You've had like amazing role models. You've had movement built into your life. You've had healthy eating put in front of you every day. You've always had a good bedtime. But for a lot of us, we need to, as adults especially, kind of go back to the basics and go, what am I missing out of my basic foundation? Because I think we get so caught up in these fancy, like fast fixes. I know we talk about that a lot, but that we forget just foundation, just going back. I just said it, just move, just pick a fruit, just go to bed on time, just manage your stress. Basic things that when that foundation is laid and then you have accountability with it, those people in your life who are going to hold you to the fire, hold you and remind you that this is important. This needs to stay at the top of your priority list. And then when it starts to sink down, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to have a coach that helps bring it back up? Are you going to have a teammate? Are you going to have a friend? Like, who's your person who brings all these super important foundational moments right back up to the top of the priority list? And then just to remember that we lay our foundation and then we build upon it. Right. And so that's what we're even doing through this series. The more things we learn, the more homework assignments we work through, we grow, and we're meant to grow. So foundation, so important.
Fantastic. Nothing more to add. I think you said it perfectly. The only thing that comes to my mind with that, Lindsey, is you can build anything you want. If it doesn't have a foundation, it's going to fall down eventually. You've got a foundation that is solid, and you take care of that foundation and you always build on that foundation, it's really hard for things to topple.
Yes. Yes. So good. It reminds me of starting a diet, a quick fix. And if there's nothing below it, if you didn't learn from the beginning, no matter how much weight you've lost, or no matter how fit you get the second that becomes too hard, or you fall away from it, or a life event happens, yeah, that foundation isn't there. So that crumbles, and now you have to start from scratch versus, I love this analogy, and then I'm flipping it back to you, but the mountain, the person climbing up the mountain, because a lot of us think about climbing that mountain and we've made all these good habit changes in our life. And then when we fall away, we picture that we've like fallen back down to the bottom of the mountain. And instead, if we could all keep this in our mind, a lot of times we've just slipped down a few rocks, and that we don't have to go all the way back down to the bottom. We've already taken care of the bottom. We've already done some hard. And now we just need to regain and climb, and we'll fall and climb. But there's no like down to the bottom, up to the top, down to the bottom. It's much more of a gradual get there, slip a little, keep going. So, okay.
Love it. Thank you for bringing that in. Because yeah, so often, people are looking to get from 1 to 10 on a scale, and they not a literal scale, but in life with something they're looking to accomplish. And they get to 3 or 4, and then they drop back to 2 or 3, and they beat themselves up. And it's like, no, you only slipped this much, and that's normal. You're not always going to move up. You're going to move like this, but over time, you're going to move up. Yes. And so, yeah, if you're at 5 and you slip to 3, please give yourself credit and remind yourself, look how far I am because I'm at 3. I used to be at 0. That's where their focus needs to be. Yes. Definitely.
Focus.
and actually, focus. There we go. I'll tell you what, I'll take us out with focus, because that's
feelings though, because we actually had a
Yeah.
LinkedIn member ask about this.
We did. All right, I'm going to say a couple quick words about focus because a
Okay,
couple
and
things
then
we've
flip over
talked
to
about. It's
feelings.
important. Then we can both kind of talk a little about feelings, and then we'll take it out
That
with that.
sounds
How
like a
about that?
plan. Yep.
All right. So here's the thing with focus in a nutshell. Focus, of course, we always hear. Focus is a word that you're always told you need to focus if you want to get something done or accomplished. Here's the thing to know about focus. We go where our attention goes. End of discussion.
Yeah.
And so when you become aware of what it is you're giving your attention to, again, no judgment, just awareness, that's the direction you're going to head in because we go where our attention goes. And so if you're focusing on things that are not things that are going to get you closer to what you're trying to get closer to, you're never going to get there. However, if you shift your focus and you maintain more focus than not on those things that'll get you where you want to go, you got a great chance of getting there. And a simple visual for this is, if we're driving down the street, and we've all done this, you drive down the street and let's say you see or something and you look for just a moment. When you bring your eyes back to the road, what do you always have to do? We have to correct back because we started veering that way because we go where our attention goes. So whether it's keeping your eyes on the road and driving your course, so to speak, whether it's what am I doing today? What are the things I'm choosing to do? What are the things I'm checking off my list? Are those things that are keeping me focused on something out there that I want to do? That's the key. Know that whatever you're putting your attention on, that's what you're going to get. So if you think about it in this way, we create most of our own results. So if you're getting something right now in life that you want to get something different, you need to change what you're focused on. You need to change where you're putting your attention because it will take you in a completely different direction.
So good. So good. Yes.
So, all right.
Well done.
Unless you have
Move on
something
to
to
feelings.
add. Do you want to hop into feelings and we can close out?
Yeah, let's hop into
Okay.
feelings because
There's
you
a great
nailed it
one.
on focus.
Yeah, so someone on LinkedIn did say feelings is one that pops to my mind, and that's brilliant. That's a great one.
I'm just gonna say something because I feel like your brain probably went here too. But
Okay.
I think a lot of times we think that our feelings should lead our actions. And just to take today as a quick moment to remind you, it's often the opposite. It's often that we need to get our actions moving in the right direction so that the good feelings will come. If you're not in the mood to work out, if you're not in the mood to get to something, a lot of times we wait for that feeling to come and it doesn't. And so therefore we don't do it. Where if you would have worked out, the good feeling would have followed it eventually. Maybe not in that, again, back to it doesn't all happen in the same day, but it would eventually follow. Where does your head go with that?
You know what? I will echo that. Oftentimes we do it backwards. Exactly to your point. And if you think about it, we're just machines as humans. And typically what happens is we have some sort of thought. That thought creates a feeling, and that feeling creates a behavior. Right? So in my head, if I go, oh, I'm not that motivated today, we get the feeling of, yeah, I don't want to do this really.
Right.
And that creates the behavior of, I don't go do something. And so if you stop and think about it, a lot of times people are like, I just don't want to feel anymore. Those emotions are taking over. It's overwhelming. And I don't want to feel stressed, anxious, nervous, overwhelmed, whatever it is anymore. Or why can't I feel more motivated? We're going to invite you to take that idea of feeling. And like Lindsay said, we want you to flip it. The feelings are going to be secondary. And here's what that means. It doesn't mean don't feel. Please don't hear that. You are human. Please feel and know that everything you're feeling is valid in some way. That's why you're feeling it. But here's the thing. Immediately bring logic into the emotion as well. Because if you let your feelings dictate what you do or don't do, that's a really slippery slope. And that's not, again, I'm going to go back to this. This might sound harsh. Go back to that reality factor. I don't wake up every morning feeling motivated to do my stuff that I have to check off my list for the day. But you know what? I go, wow, I'm so not feeling motivated today. And then you know what the next thought is? Doesn't matter. I don't need to feel motivated. I need to go check these things off my list. And so I go do it. Yeah. And so If you think that you have to feel something in order to do something, be careful. That is absolutely incorrect, right? You can feel the fear and do it anyway. You can feel not motivated and do it anyway. You can feel whatever. One of my favorite sayings, I have no idea who to attribute this to, but it's the coward and the hero feel the same fear. The only difference is only one of them takes action.
Mm-hmm. So
and
true.
So when you think about feelings versus logic, you can feel things, but then sit back and go, okay, again, I'm acknowledging I'm feeling these things. However, what do I need to do? And then jump into behavior, jump into action, because to Lindsay's point, if all you're doing is thinking about doing something and you never do it, it's going to feel so overwhelming and so stressful. If you just jump in and do it, you're going to go, well, that wasn't anywhere near as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And now it's going to be a lot easier to move forward with it. So, and here's, I'll throw a quick tool in here, because this is something that I use with clients all the time. It's something I call the vent clock. And when emotions or feelings tend to be taking something over to the point where they can't see the, what do I do? Or what's the action to take? I say, okay, take out your phone and go into the stopwatch, and you're going to put 2 minutes on the stopwatch. Okay. And here's the thing, for the next 2 minutes, as soon as you hit start, you can vent everything you want. You can complain, you can be scared, you can say all the things you want. You can say how much you cannot stand how that situation is, what that person's doing, how you're feeling. You have 2 minutes, complete permission to vent your feelings. Get it out of your system. Go, and you hit start.
Yeah.
By the time people get to a minute, first of all, the irony is they're out. And I noticed that in my head, this felt like it was all consuming. But when I actually got it out, I realized there were like 2 things that were bugging me. And as soon as I said them and got them out of my system, I was in a place where I could now choose to take some action, because it was gone. The other thing is, if you give yourself permission to get the feelings out, get the emotion out, you're in a wonderful place. You're in a powerful place, because now you're in a place of choice. Because now you've pushed the feelings and emotions over here. You've done what you needed to do with them. Now you can bring action in. Now you can do something, and they don't get in the way of you doing something. So pull out a vent clock, use it. You will be amazed at how quickly you can get all of that out and make it so that you can jump into action so much quicker. And then again, as Lindsay said, the more action you take, the more that will dictate the feelings that you want.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on your clock, and then we'll really wrap this up. But the clock can also be such a beneficial thing for it. Set it for 10 minutes and tell yourself, do something, whether that's wash a dish, go put laundry in, sit down in front of your computer, knock out an email, something that gets that ball rolling, so that, because oftentimes what happens is you do it and then the motivation starts kicking in, like we're talking about. The feeling follows the action, and then we keep going with something. Same thing with walking. Put on your tennis shoes, set your clock, do it for 10 minutes. And then permission follows all of this. It's if the feeling really never comes, if it really isn't the day, if it really is just this day that you need to give yourself permission not to, then that's okay. But at least you busted past that first stop sign of like, I don't feel like doing it. So, okay, just circling back, your homework for today is to, what did we say? Oh, flip the switch.
Flip the switch, right?
Yes. Flip the switch. And so if you do this and you have an aha moment, Robin and I would love to hear your moments. And this is stuff that we can circle back and talk about in future talks as well. And the flip the switch comes from your very own Robin Sacks. Get off my bus. I'm telling you, I love this. I have my daughter going through it. We talk about the bus, like this good stuff. So thank you, Robin, for putting that out in the world.
Thank you. Definitely. All right. Awesome. So where are we? EFG. So next time, which is in a couple of weeks, so we will jump on G as the next letter for success. So again, feel free, hop on to LinkedIn. Let us know in comments, send us direct messages, anything you'd like to do. Let us know if you've got some G words you would like us to cover the next time we are with you. And we will continue to help you spell out success for you in 2022.
Yes. Thank you. Have great weeks.
Take care, everybody.